Okay, so let's go ahead and start with a prayer. Would anyone be willing to offer the prayer?
Um, well, I can do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, we're so grateful today for the privilege for us to be together this day to have a class discussion regarding our assignment. We pray that as we come together to do so, the Holy Spirit will be with us, so that everything that we shall discuss will be meaningful and will be edified unto us in our careers, in our ambitions. We're so grateful on today and thank you so much for the effort we've made so far to this day. And we look forward to a very interesting discussion this day. And we ask you that everything that we shall do here will be successful. In the name of Jesus Christ, we ask all this. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate that. So this week it looks like we're talking about the case study, negotiating on thin ice.
Finally one
Um,
I actually knew something about. Can I just say that?
you knew about it?
Since it's sports related, I finally knew something about it before I went into it.
Well, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know hockey very well.
I don't know hockey super well, but when the basketball lockout happened last time, they brought this one up, so I knew a little bit
There
about it
was a
before.
basketball lockout.
Yeah, what year was it? 2012? They had a lockout? But
Was it?
anyway, I digress. I'm distracting us from the actual case study, so.
You're good. Well, the first question is what's really going on in the case. So I let, I mean, lockout essentially is what's going on.
Yeah,
But
it's a labor dispute, essentially.
yeah, yeah. Um,
So, I can just explain really in terms though. So in the sports world, they always have these collective bargaining agreements to divide the revenues from the players and the owners. And so like in the NBA, they, their current one that's going to expire in 2017, the players get 51% of the revenues and the owners get 49%. And so that 51% of revenues that they've agreed to get, that's where the players' salaries come from and other things. And so the NHL's their bargaining agreement has expired, and the players' union and the owners can't come to an agreement on how to split the revenues and what to do. And so the commissioner of the NHL locked all the players out. So there's not going to be any hockey played, no checks made out to the players or anything. And so basically, it's going to be a year with no hockey. And so these guys are all either out of jobs and looking for jobs overseas, or they're not going to have a source of income if they don't come to an agreement, and they're also going to lose money because they have no entertainment to provide to fans. So that's basically what's going on, is that contract dispute of how are we going to divide up the money that the league is making evenly among us. So.
okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. So the next question is what's interesting about it? For me, one of the thoughts that just ran through my mind while doing the case study was how, because I also did external research as well, um, where one of the major cities where the National Hockey League played was really just the economy there was just destroyed because of the lockout. Um, and businesses had to shut down. People were left without jobs. That's just because this lockout happened because of the tourism that came from hockey. And so for me, I found it interesting how, in some cases, whole communities were affected, and in other cases, businesses were affected. And I just found that interesting and kind of crazy. So,
Yeah, totally. You don't think of how big of a market the sports leagues are. Even the NHL, it's not nearly the biggest one. How big of a drive that is for money in those markets? Because, like, I'm from Rexburg. I live in Rexburg, and my dad and I all the time will we actually make a list of games that would work that are in like Utah or over in like Boise to go to either like a college game or like a professional game, like go see the Jazz play, and we make lists to just try and plan it out. And of course, when we go down to watch a game, we also go to the shopping mall and we spend other money, and that happens all the time with people in Idaho. They're always traveling down to Utah to watch the Jazz play or traveling over to other places to watch other teams play because we don't have a team, and it happens in every sport. And you take the team away, and there's no basketball, no hockey being played, that revenue doesn't come in. So it's a major impact, just like you were saying. So they really, I always hate when they have lockouts because it's just, as a fan, it sucks because you don't get entertainment and you don't have a good excuse to travel, and it just
right.
sucks.
I like the excuse to travel.
Oh, I love the excuse to travel. Go see a game, go eat some good food. It's awesome, but lockouts ruin it for all of us. So let's talk more
I
specifics
was
on study. Do you have a question, Alfred?
I yes. That's what sound interesting to me. In my part of the world, we don't follow sports like that. A sport with a view of 300 million people worldwide. I was amazed to hear that. Um, my question was looking at the kind of tension that comes when it comes to the CB negotiating for their CBA. I was wondering why they did not have something like a long-term CBA so that that tension could be broken, because it seems every year they have to struggle with it. And I was wondering why they don't negotiate something that is long-term so that it will diffuse the tension somehow. But it seems to be happening annually. I was wondering.
Yeah. So generally their labor agreements are for like 5 to 7 years. Like the NBA's their last one was in 2012, and their agreement's gonna expire in 2017. And the reason they do that in more well, shorter intervals than seems like logical is because they're constantly getting new TV deals with ESPN and other major companies, and the revenues are constantly changing. And as the revenues increase, like the NBA signed a massive, massive, massive TV deal, and the players want more of the money because they're the ones playing, and so they want to be able to re-structure that so that they can make more money, and so they're willing to take the risk of the tension and having the lockout every couple of years in order for the possibility of being able to renegotiate for the increased money that's coming into the businesses. And just because there's such a boom in the sports market, that's why the deals are so short, because they want to make sure they can cash in as much as possible on the new deals that are coming in. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, no. Yes, now I understand.
So
uh,
it's pretty crazy
Here
how.
we hardly play such a soccer.
Yeah,
We don't understand the dynamics.
yeah. I know. My mission companion was from Australia. They had one of the best sports teams at their high school in the country. They had like the fourth best soccer team in the country, and he's like, no one went to their games. And I was like, are you kidding me? In the U.S., there's like thousands of people that go to football games every weekend, hundreds of thousands of people. So it's it's strictly more of a U.S. thing with how big sports are. So I figured we could explain more to you on your questions of it, since you wouldn't have experienced why it's such a big deal because you didn't grow up with it and stuff. So
Okay.
let's talk what you guys came to a conclusion of with though. If you were the player union director, what would you do?
You know, for me, I'm not 100% sure just because I'm not extremely familiar with the needs and demands of the NHL. But you said, I mean, it's correct. The players get a certain percentage of the revenue, and the owners get a certain percentage, right?
Right, and that's what they're negotiating is where the percentages are going to be set at.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. I don't think it needs to be dragged out as long as they make it. I would just have a big meeting, say, players, what do you want? And they'll say, hey, I want this percentage. Say, owners, what do you want? Well, we can't do it because of this and this and this. And you know, for me, I think they can just sit down, take a day, figure it out. You know, I don't know the politics of it as well. You know, I was thinking about that as well because they have to go and talk to their person, who has to talk to their person. It just goes back and then it comes back up. So I'm not 100% sure. For us at the NHL's end, where if they don't do it right, they go out of business.
Right.
And so then you can't do it in one sit down meeting. So I honestly don't know what I would do. I'd try to keep it the same
Yeah.
as it has always been, because the owners are already making way too much money, and so are the players. So, but I'm not 100% sure.
For me, I think I'll push for more. Or it seems the more you push, the more the this thing increases, the benefit. So the best thing to do as a negotiator is keep pushing as much as you could get from the whole negotiation. And I felt like yes, there's no way I'll say, oh, I'm okay for anything. So long as I can push and get a little bit, it will be a good deal for the players. And historically, I think team owners have really bullied these players, except I think the modern times it's time for them to also enjoy. And I think as a negotiator for them, you just have to push and get the best for them and never be content with whatever the other side propose. You just have to be pushed. This is what I think I will do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alfred. Because from the players' standpoint, the players hold all the power in the negotiations. Because there's other leagues around the world, like you can go over to Russia and play. There's other methods. If you're a good enough hockey player, people will pay you somewhere to play hockey. Whereas if you're a team owner, the only option you have is to find someone who's not as good as hockey that'll agree to your stuff and then play hockey for you. So the team owners have a lot harder of a way to find additional revenue without having hockey being played in the U.S. from the NHL. And so the players have more of the bargaining power. So I would push for what you want, but then at the same point you have to recognize if you go somewhere other than the U.S., you're not nearly going to make as much money because the other leagues, they're not as big. You're not going to make as much. So you have to push, but at some point you have to realize if we don't play hockey, after the year where the NHL has been kind of on a downturn and they're losing money, we may never be able to play hockey in the United States again. So we may be throwing this entire earning potential away because it's the biggest earning potential in the world. So you gotta be firm on what you want, but you also at some point you have to take a deal and play hockey.
You have to give up.
At some point you got the best deal. You can't always just try and push for the better deal. You have to eventually take something, right?
So with that in mind,
Sure.
what would you do differently, or what would you do to change what happened, or this
Well,
whole
so-
entire thing? What would you do differently?
I really have no problem with their salary cap proposal that they're offering. And I mean, they're what? The NHL wants to do $42.5 million for a salary cap, and the players want to do a $49 million salary cap. So I'd go to them as the players and be like, let's do 46 million. We'll come down a little bit.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. And if you're not taking it, then we're good with playing overseas for a year because it will go away, and you're losing more money than we are. And see what they said for 46 million, and like I'd be willing to go down to like 45 million, but I wanted to highball them a little bit and then drop down. But they're not that far away where there should be no hockey this year. They have to make a deal because they're so close. So I'd just be like, we're gonna have a meeting this day, and if nothing works out, then you guys come back to us with another day. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think they should use their value, I guess, as players, and push the hardest for sure. But definitely, I think that what both sides, like the owners and the players, what should do better, I think, is trying to kind of meet in the middle. I think they kind of just kept bashing heads, and that was the whole issue to start with. That they weren't even trying to very much meet in the middle. And so, like you said, the NHL wanted 42 million as a cap, and players wanted 49 million. So meet in the middle at like 46. You know, it's going to be tighter on both ends, but you need the players more than you aren't going to get money without players.
Yeah.
That.
If,
So,
if, and I mean, they've got the best hockey players in the world playing in the NHL.
exactly, yeah.
There's the movie The Replacements where the NFL had a lockout and they got lower level players. And I mean, we saw what you remember when the referees had the referee lockout, and we had substitute refs for a little bit in the NFL, Nathan,
I think so, actually, yeah.
with the Fail Mary call in the Packers Seahawks game on like Monday night, I think.
Uh-huh.
You don't want subpar employees when you have a massive entertainment business.
Yeah.
So they have to keep what they have because they've got the best. So
Yeah.
the players have the advantage here. So. Alfred's like, you guys are nuts. You Americans in your sports, you guys are just crazy. I agree with you, Alfred. We are a little
Yes,
when it comes to sports.
what I think I could do different is maybe have a standardized formula whereby, as per the revenue coming, things are shared equally as much as possible as both parties could agree. Because for the players, all that they do is to get more, especially when they feel that there is more revenue coming than what they are being given. And so what I think we could do to make things work very well is to have a mush, to even solve this problem in the long term, is to have something like a standardized formula whereby per the revenue coming, things are splitted accordingly. And I think if that is the approach, and then there wouldn't be any need for even push for more. So as per the revenue that comes, we share it by that formula, and it is done. Because if through this negotiation nothing happens and the league stops, we all lose. Everybody lose. As a team manager, I lose. A player, you also lose. And like Nathan Quintin said, well, you can get another deal in a different country, but you won't be paid as much as you are paid in United States, where the games is well enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, just adding to Alfie with my more sports knowledge. In the NBA, they have their cap system works where if you've been in the league 5 years, the max amount of money you can make is this. And so they have that collective bargaining agreement that Alfred just proposed. It works in other sports because other sports have it. And so it's not a far-fetched thing to be like, well, it can work in the NHL because it works in the other sports. So I agree with Alfred. I mean, you just set a number, take the number, play some hockey. I mean, you're getting paid to play a sport that you love to play, and I mean, you're also getting paid to travel around the United States, and you're getting paid millions of dollars to do it. So there's really no reason to not take a deal. So
yeah, I'd be happy with 1 million.
Yeah, but I mean, you hear some of the players. Oh, my family's gonna suffer because I'm making like $200,000 less than I was last year. And it's like, guys, you know how much money you guys make? Deal with it. Like, just there should not be a problem for them to come to an agreement.
Give me 1 million. If they can give me 1 million, I'll play. I'll play for them.
Yeah. They can give me $200,000. I'm not giving $1 million to play. Like if someone came to me and was like, Quentin, we will give you $200,000 a year to play basketball, I'd be like, done, sign me up. I don't know, golden. The minimum is $100,000. Like I don't know why you guys are paying these people so much. I would do it for free. Seriously. So, did we cover the question well there for that one, Nathan?
Yes. I can send you guys the link to it as well after this here.
Awesome.
Did you?
Well, does
anyone else have any other comments or questions?
Yeah,
or
questions.
Yes, I think these sports have been very interesting. I don't see any reasonable income coming from sports, but I only think of football being the only thing that generates so much money. But I was amazed to hear about this NHL. in Ghana, they don't make a quarter of the amount you are talking about. And so I was surprised that it's booming in US actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sad when you look at sports revenues because the NBA just had free agency and there's players signing contracts for $30 million a year, and it's unreal unless you live in the U.S. and like watch it. If you hear about it, I watch basketball consistently and I follow like the cap and everything consistently, and I know a bunch of the rules. And I saw some of the deals and I was like, wow, that's just ridiculous. So
Crazy.
I mean, they're massively overpaid for what they're doing, but we buy a lot of tickets and there's a lot of money in it, so
Tons.
they justify it. So yeah, it's nuts that the fourth biggest sports league still makes that much money though. So, I have nothing else really to go over. Any other questions? Comments?
I guess this is our last gathering.
Oh yeah. Well, it's good working with you guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's been a good semester. It's been great being able to. I tell people on Thursday, like they always ask me, "You want to do something Thursday night?" I'm like, "I've got a conference call with my friend in Africa." And they're like, "No way!" I'm like, "Yeah, got a meeting." He's awesome. And it's been so fun to do that. So I've really enjoyed it.
I've done that too.
Yeah. No one believes me. They're like, "There's no way." I'm like, "No, no, no." I'm like, Alfred, he meets with us every week, and he wakes up super early in the morning to do it. He's amazing. So we
Well,
bragging for you over here at campus, Alfred.
I've done it.
it's been it's been awesome meeting you guys and the kind of interaction that we have and ideas, different perspective. For me, it sounds so great to me, and I learn a lot of things with you guys, and that is what motivates me to come around. And I'm grateful to Heavenly Father that I've been able to do it until the end of the semester. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I am honestly astonished that you were able to wake up every time.
Yeah, with how hard it is for me to make 10 o'clock at night, I can't imagine, man. And Alfred hasn't missed a single one of Nathan
know.
missed a couple, and Alfred hasn't missed a single one. So
That's the incredible part.
you talk about the glue that holds the group together.
For
Been
real.
awesome.
Great. Okay, so I have your numbers. We'll still stay in touch. I'm planning to come for general conference maybe in October. If I manage to do that, I'll give you guys a call.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
Sounds perfect.
I only live I live like 3 hours away from the conference center, so if you come, I'll probably journey down to the good old Salt Lake and hit you up and say hi. So
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. I look forward to that, and thank you for your time. And I believe that we've built the skills that will make us effective managers, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully we can be effective, man.
Well, hopefully that.
We have the alleged skills, right? Now it's just a matter of putting them in practice.
Great. And so thank you so much. And yes, we'll stay in touch and we see what follows. Maybe we may cross again in another course. What are you guys studying?
I'm an accounting major. I think
Oh,
Nathan,
okay.
I'm
you're
in construction, so
What about Nathan?
I'm in construction, so I'm taking a business like cluster, a minor of sorts, and so I am still taking. Actually, I think have an accounting course I have to take, but I might be done with business courses.
Oh, okay.
But
Good. I'm in business management. Actually, that is what I'm doing, and it's nice to have you all. Thank you for your time, and yeah.
I've enjoyed it. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the